there's a bunch of organizations out there who do good for veterans. They do. These guys do. I'm not dissing them.
Yep.
Okay. These organizations do good for veterans. But there's a lie floating around out there that I found in my research. And that lie is that they can't get this data. They don't know how many people they've helped. They can't keep track of the whole thing. We're doing this on Pop's lack of money and my non-existent money. And we're still holding this together, and we're still doing all of this. That data that I just showed you, I just did that. Nobody handed me a nickel for that. I wasn't compensated in any way other than being able to help my fellow brothers in arms and to make sure that as few of us as possible made that bad decision.
Yeah, and all
I
I've
wanted
really done is just keep count and then
Mhm.
write it down in my,
Yep.
my green brain book I carried with me everywhere.
Now,
And then I put the numbers on my master calendar in the beginning at the end of the year.
yeah,
It's not that hard to track these
no,
numbers.
it is not that hard to track these numbers. And as far as analyzing the data goes, I did that by myself with an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. If I had access to all of the real data, I could tell you everything that's going on in that world. I could tell you everything that's going on in the veterans suicide crisis right now if I could get to that data. They're saying that they can't do that. That's a load of crap. They don't know either don't know what they're doing, they're not willing to do what they're doing, or somebody doesn't want that data seen. My guess is somebody doesn't want that data seen, and because it's not pretty. They don't want to face reality. One of the big things that Pop and I have been about since he started this show and he brought me in is here's reality, dumps reality on the table in front of you. Okay, now let's fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Because I'm going to be honest, it's a fucking war out there. And men are killing themselves at breakneck speed. And no one's talking about it. Nobody even wants to bring up the numbers. Because I can guarantee you that if it ever comes out, the actual numbers, a lot of the people out there are going to have to deal with backlash and possibly some shame. Most of them probably won't because they're basically sold out to the forces of darkness. And listen, you know you're in a fucked up situation when you have an old grunt Green Beret, saying anything about the forces of darkness. All right. I mean, I was never that guy growing up. I was always the asshole. Well, you get to a certain age and you're like, well, yeah, I've made it across the finish line, but there's a lot of people back there that are suffering.
Yeah.
I better go back and get some of those guys,
Yeah,
make sure
that's
they make
exactly
it across
it.
the finish line.
That's exactly it. We don't have to be doing this, except we have to be doing this. We owe a debt of honor to our brothers who came after us. And that's what we're doing here.
Yep.
So, Wounded Warrior, for example, doesn't just help with one aspect of a warrior's life. It's well rounded, not just handing out money. They're a hand up, not a handout. Again, like I said, these organizations are good and they do good. But rarely do I see real serious outreach programs in these. They'll pick one guy who's tore up from the floor up. Okay, this guy needs help. I get it. Okay, and they'll build the one guy a house, or they'll get you tickets to a show, or they'll give you the phone number to the support group or something like that. What follow-up do you have with that? Let's go on to one of the other ones here. This is probably one of the better ones from what I hear. I need to do more looking into his because I know Gary Sinise actually cares.
Actually, to be honest
I've
with
seen
you,
a lot of evidence that he gives a damn.
yes, I can say that as well. But I've actually emailed this Gary Sinise guy and his nonprofit probably a dozen times, and I've got zero response back.
There's the other thing.
Yeah.
There's the other thing. We're all brothers in arms. Case of Pop and me, past tense, we were, but it still matters. When we reach out between organizations, we should be responding to each other, even if it's to say, hey, I don't have the bandwidth, man, I'm sorry. Let's circle back to this later or something like that. Even if it's something like that. But the idea that none of these organizations will even begin to try to talk to second-class citizen to see what's going on, or see what it's about, or see what Pop has to offer, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating because our mission is all the same. He and I just go about it in a different way. And the other guys that are on the show as well, we don't cut corners on what's really going on. We'll tell you the absolute truth about what is really happening and why it's happening and what we think you can do to get through it. And I've seen it work. I've seen what Pop has come up with. A lot of it's in his book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. I've seen it work in real time. We've seen it on the show a couple of times where we'll be talking and going, and Jimmy and I will have our eyes on the chat or something, and a guy will pop up like out of nowhere. Hey, I want to talk to you guys. I have a story to tell. Yep. In real time, we have these things happen on the show. One of the reasons we interact with as many of you as we can't respond to every email. We've talked about this before. We can't respond to every chat. Otherwise, it'd be nothing but that. But when we run across guys who need help, when we can help them, we will. We will do whatever we can.
I mean, I spend about 2 hours a day responding to emails and, comments on YouTube and Rumble.
And forwarding me emails that I already got.
Yeah, and I forward them. It's what
okay.
it is.
It's all right, man. Your thinking meat's damaged. Carry on.
And I've actually, had guys send me their number, emergency, I need to talk to you. And I literally call them and find out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, all right, just send me an email. What's going on?
Yep.
And then if it's a serious situation, I'll get on the phone and call guys.
Past couple of months, there's been a couple of guys I've talked to like that. Occasionally, I'll get one who needs help with a legal document or something like that. And if I have the bandwidth, I'm going to help you. There isn't a question of it. If I have the time, I'm going to help you. And Pop does the same stuff. Now, the difference between what we do and these organizations like the Gary Sinise or Wounded Warriors or the other ones that are out there is I don't see them following through. I don't see them checking back with members saying, hey, you all right, bro? That kind of thing. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't happen, but I don't see it.
We're not seeing it. And
yeah,
I don't even know if they actually, track any of those numbers. I would love to be able to track just the gratitude. We get a whole bunch of gratitude letters that we don't put their number on the board because they didn't actually say.
Let's do an episode of it.
Yeah,
let's dig up a bunch of them and just do a sample. If we did that for all of them, we'd be here for a minute.
Yeah.
Honestly, and thank you guys for getting back to us and saying, hey, thanks for walking me through this shit show.
I made
what we're here for.
I made administrative violence, divorce and custody edition, and then the Working Man Survival Guide, because average dudes are just getting crushed out there, and they don't know how to fight back, and they don't have the money to fight back. Mm-hmm. So I made the webinars so they could fight back dirty.
Yeah. And they don't even have a freaking 6-digit grid on the map to start from.
Yeah.
Let alone know how to do all of this stuff. They don't know where to begin to start fighting.
They don't even have a 4-digit grid. They don't even know what grid square they're on.
I know. They don't even know what grid square they're on. And only our guys know what the fuck we're talking about. There's a couple of civilians out there going,
what the hell's a grid square?
The fuck are they talking about now?
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.